Hello everyone, welcome back to Nails by Sora. Hope you're all doing well. Today I'm doing something a little different. I've done it before, but I'm creating a ring for my sister. She asked for one, and I'm using gel products. Now I've done it before, as I said, and I have a video up. I'm going to be doing one different than this, but it's going to be the same method, so I figured I'd walk you through it again. And yeah, so you need very few tools. You can use mostly gel products, but what I use is resin, crafting resin, which is basically UV gel. And it's hard type. This is a brand that I got from Michaels. I've had it for over a year, and the bottle is still mostly full because I rarely use it. Very easy to use. I'll show you how. But what you do need is jewelry wire of a relatively thin gauge. This one is 24 yards, 21.9 meters by Bead Landing. I also got this at Michael's. And you want something to wrap the wire around that's going to be the size of the petals that you want to create. Now I do have jewelry wire cutters, and I recently cleaned up my desk area, and now I can't find the jewelry cutters or the wire cutters. I'm sure it's put away in someplace really safe where I'll never see it again. But since the wire gauge is quite thin, I can just use my nipping tools, which I'd rather not use because I don't want to damage them. But I must have about 5 different pair of nippers, so I'm sure it'll be fine. And then what you need is a palette. Mine are usually quite dirty, but we're going to go with it. I'll find a clean space. And yeah, I'm going to start off with creating the ring first. And I have this ring mold, which I got at Michael's, no surprise. And it's got resin caked up all over excuse me, resin caked up all over it. But it's numbered so that you can match it to the ring size that you're looking to create. I believe I did size 6 for my mom. I usually do size 7 for myself. And my sister said that my mom's was just slightly small for her. So I'll do a size 7. And if it doesn't fit, I could always make her another one. I'm sure she won't mind. So what I'm going to do is, first and foremost, I want to embed the gold into it, the wire into it rather. So I'm going to wrap it around loosely around my finger a few times and then push it into the mold. And it's really just to create some added design. It's not for any kind of structure. The gel is going to set up firm enough. But with the one that I showed you before, I had the wire loose and then I poured and painted the gel around it, and it kind of came out uneven and it doesn't really fit my finger. So this way it's a specific size. It'll be embedded in the gel and we won't have to worry about it. So let me see if I can just pull this a little bit more taut. And then we just push it down. Now, one of the reasons why I made sure to embed it in the gel, specifically for my mom, because she's tends to cut herself quite easily, and I didn't want a gift to be a torture device. So I made sure that any wires were embedded in gel and there wasn't anything sticking up out of it. Now I have this pipette I'm going to use to pour the, or to push the gel into the form. So I'm just going to pick some up with the pipette. Now this will make sure that the pipette is single use because there's no way to really get the gel out of it 100%. But I'm just pushing it down into the form and then squeezing the edge of the pipette. Or the tube of the pipette to expel the gel. I'm gonna make sure I put more than I need in here because I can scrape off the excess gel. I just want to make sure that it's completely encased. And that there's no bubbles. And then usually with the UV gel, what you can do, the resin rather, is you can let it cure out in the sun, but it's UV, so you might as well just use your lamp. That's going to be easiest. So I'm just checking all angles, making sure that it comes all the way to the top so that the wire is completely encased. Now I'm going to put it in my lamp for 90 seconds to do a full cure. I'm sure it would cure in 60 seconds, but I'd rather do 90. All right, so now all we have to do is pull off the hair, which I always love to give people a piece of myself. And then just bend it and push the ring up out of it. And now we have a ring with some extra little bits hanging off. Now this would be a beautiful band just as it is, but of course we want to add something to it. So I am going to, where did I put my nail file? Because I just want to file off the rough bits. There aren't too many. Where did I put my file? I love how when I clean up, I can never find anything. So you can use a buffing block or you can just use the soft side of one of your files. Could always go around it with a little bit of gel top coat afterwards and refinish it off. Got that lovely little bit of hair. But here we have a ring that is perfectly sized because we used a form. So this I'm going to set aside for now. And I think what I'm going to do to form, I've been having trouble with figuring out how to affix the petals without driving myself nuts. I don't want anything too bulky on the surface of the ring itself. So I didn't have it back when I made that ring, but from Nails by Dev, I have all of her trippy gels. Knocking things over. So I may use one of the trippy gels for the iris of the flower. I'm not sure. This one's clear, so I can mix some gold flecks into it, which might be nice. So I'm gonna keep that out. Let me open it now so I don't have to deal with it later. So this is the gel. So we'll play with that later. I'll put some gold bits into it. And before I cure it, I'll just use the stem of the wire to push into it to keep it steady before it cures. All right, so now to go about making the petals. I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to wrap it around the portion of the handle that matches the, what do you call it? The circumference that I want of the petal. Then I'm going to pull it off, and there we have one petal. So I'm going to keep the stem relatively long for now, can trim it later. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat. Just dropped it on the floor as I drop everything on the floor. So I'm gonna decide how many petals I want. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat and create all of the petals that I need in the same fashion. All right, so we've got our petals ready. I went ahead and I did some smaller ones as well for the interior of the flower. And now we're going to shape them. So I'm going to take again one of my brushes and I'm going to push the sides in a little bit to elongate and make the leaves the petals a little bit narrower. And then I'm going to just lightly press it around the base of the brush handle. And I'm going to do that with all of them. So just going to squeeze the sides together a little bit. And then I'm going to wrap it around the handle. All right, so what I forgot to mention when I was wrapping the leaves around the brush is that you want to make sure that you twist it as tight as you can up to the meeting point here. And if you have too much of a gap or if the coil is not really tight, it's like when you had those old bubble wands and you would put it in the soap and pull it through the air and it would create those bubbles. You need the tension. You need it to be really a closed loop to be able to get the UV gel or the resin to create that film across the surface. If there's too much of a gap down here or if your petals are too large, you're gonna have trouble getting it to stick. And that's when I first started doing these, I couldn't figure out why it was working in the videos for everybody and I couldn't get it to stick. So sometimes it does take a little bit of an effort, especially if your petals are a little too curved, like I suspect this one is. You need it to be a little bit more flat and you need it to be really tight down here at the base where the two ends meet. So I am going to grab my tweezers as a way to hold it a little bit more comfortably as I'm putting it under the lamp. And I'm going to grab my Sidewinder. This one is from Painted Desert, but you can get a flash curing lamp on Amazon for really cheap. And it just makes things a little bit more easy. So I'm gonna keep it pointed down towards the desktop so I don't inadvertently cure my resin on the palette. And then I'm gonna start dipping. So this one has a nozzle, which is really handy. So you can just squeeze out what you need onto the palette. Don't really need a lot. And you want to make sure that you keep it out of the light rays, out of the reachable distance of the light rays. Hi, I'm Stephanie. I speak English sometimes. So I'm going to dip it into the gel, and you can see it's clung quite nicely. I'm going to move this away from the lamp, and I'm going to flash cure it. All right, so now I'm just going to get a tray, if I can find my trays. And I'm going to place them in the tray for a full cure when I'm done flash curing. And now I'm just going to repeat the same step. I'm going to move this to the side. Going to grab these. All right, so now we've got our petals, and all we have to do now is paint them. My sister's pretty classic with her style. She likes things that match with a lot of different outfits. So instead of going crazy with a lot of different colors, she wanted something that was white with maybe like gradation to clear. I figure since the wire itself is gold, or copper rather, what is it? I don't know, it doesn't say. I would use gold flakes going into a white ombre. So in order to do that, I want to take some, maybe I'll use my DGel just to create a slip layer on the surface of the nail. And then I'm going to go in with my white gel paint and then go over it with the gold. This is a top coat, no wipe top with gold flakes. So I think that will work quite nicely. Let me make sure the bristles of my brush are softened up. If you hear that buzzing in the background, it's like the bane of my existence. I'm in a large apartment complex and one of my neighbors has one of those toy motorized cars and he's just zooming it through the parking lot. Yes, slip layer, which I didn't do yet. Oh, I've got a hole in the gel. And I've got a hair dangling from my arm. I think I'm gonna try to re-dip this. See if I can wipe off this gel now. All right, while that's going, I'm going to start painting the other leaves, petals. They're petals. All right, so we've got all of our petals painted. I did have a few problems that I didn't anticipate. I didn't notice that the layer of UV resin was so thin that as I was painting on the color, it started to pull away and tear, so I had to do some patching. Thankfully, you really can't see anything, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of these over to this tray so that I have an empty one to put the petals into as I'm putting it on the top coat. And then we'll be able to attach them and finish off the ring. So I'm just going to use the bottle brush. That's not a problem. And I think I'm going to get another tray. I did switch to regular gel paint, gel polish, because the gel paint was a little too thick. It wasn't spreading the way I wanted it to. So I'm just going to take another tray. Make sure that there's nothing in it to stick to the nails, the petals. And now I'm going to go in with the gold glitter polish. You don't want to go too thick. You don't want to build up the bulk of the petals. You only have to do one side. The other side is non-tacky because it's the UV resin. And this portion should be relatively quick and painless. Don't tip over. Don't stick to one another. Oh, crap. All right, I'm gonna stick these in and cure them so that nothing happens, and I'm gonna continue on with the rest of the nails. Now that all of our petals are done, we can go into finishing off the ring. Now this is the part that, generally speaking, I have the most problems with, because I have difficulty fastening the petals to the base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here for now. I'm going to take my spatula, which is somewhere. I don't want too big a piece, but I want big enough a piece to be able to stick the petals into it. I'm just going to wet my fingers with a little bit of alcohol, just so I can move it around a little bit more easily. All right. So I'm going to flatten that out just a little bit. And then I'm going to start putting the petals into it. I'm going to clip it pretty close. And I'm going to do the larger petals on the outside and then the smaller petals on the inside. They are going to start shifting around a little bit the more you place, just because you're going to start running out of room along the interior of the gel. So you want to be really careful, or really gentle rather. And just remember that you can always adjust them until it's cured. I think I'm going to put this here for a second. I'm going to turn the ring around so I can reach the other side more easily. I'll be able to fit one more on this row before I have to add more gel and go on to the next row. All right, so we've got the first layer done. I'm going to switch to my gem glue now, which is by Makartt. It is somewhere in my cart. Here it is. And I'm going to pre-clip the smaller leaves just so that I can work with it a little bit more quickly. 2, 3. 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, so I've got my Makartt gem glue. This one has a little nozzle on the end of it so that you can be really precise with where you're placing it. So I'm going to attempt to flash cure each petal on in place. Okay. That's good as I knock all the other petals over. I want to put another petal in. I don't have any more small ones. I just have a large one, and I really don't want to make a new one. So I think I'm going to just try to sneak this in as best as I can. See how it looks. No, that's not going to look good. Wonder if I can remove this one or turn it. All right, I'm going to take this and put it in the lamp for full cure. And then I'm going to put some decoration in the center. All right, so to finish off the center, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to work in some of the gel that I used to decorate the petals. Don't know how this is going to work, so we're just going to play with it. Trying to push it down so that it secures all of the wires below without flattening it out so it looks like a pancake. Everything feels pretty stable. And there we have it. I really love the way this ring turned out. I think it's the best one I've done yet. Definitely a far cry from this one. While I love it, absolutely, I think obviously the portion that actually goes around the finger could use a lot of work. As I said, it doesn't really fit on any of my fingers, just my pinky, which isn't bad. But I really don't wear pinky rings. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Let me know if you like videos like this, if you want me to do more videos like this. I'm considering maybe doing an Etsy shop if this is something that people really like and maybe want to buy. Let me know. And all the products I use will be in the description box below. Leave a comment and a like and hit that subscribe button so that you always know when new videos are available. And I will see you soon. Bye.